brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me. Ask the Paul, where we rise and don't fall.
Welcome back to another episode of Baxter's Buzz. I am your host, Baxter E. Hall. Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my frequency. Enter at your own risk. Today, I have a special guest with me. She is a domestic violence advocate and survivor, the founder of Act Now Services, where they serve um, domestic violence victims, sexual assault victims, and then victims of trafficking. Georgia Cole, welcome to Baxter's Buzz.
Thank you, Baxter. It's wonderful to be here. I'm
Yes,
very excited to be here.
I'm so happy that we are able to connect. Um, we are familiar with one another, and October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I know it was something that we wanted to make sure that we got on and just kind of share some things uh, with our folks in our network. So thank you for joining. Thank you for the work that you do, and let's get into it a little bit, okay?
Sure, yes.
Wh-
Thank you.
How long has Act Now Services been around?
For 33 years. Act
Wow.
Now Services, yeah. 33 years.
Okay. Okay.
hmm
And what brought this about? I know that we mentioned in your intro that you're a survivor, but what spurred the the you kind of founding this nonprofit to help these folks?
Well, yes, mentioning that I'm a survivor 33 years ago, over 33 years ago, when I was in my situation and when I got free of that situation, I noticed after being in a domestic violence shelter, myself and my daughter, we were able to escape a really brutal marriage, and she was just shy of a year old,
Mm.
and I knew I had to get away. So when I broke free from that, I had to navigate a lot of systems. And back then, you didn't have all of the flyers around. And, if you go into an agency or a public place, you have stickers in bathrooms now and all kinds of resources you see now. But not back then. Everything was kind of like, shh, don't talk about that.
Mm.
So I noticed that it was really hard for me to navigate the legal system.
Mm.
And so that's what spurred on Act Now Services. And actually, my legal name starting out 33 years ago is Act Now Legal Services. So I
Oh,
started in Chicago. Yeah. And they're in Lake County and Cook County. And that's how it was spurred on.
okay.
Yeah.
So legal services, you were taking sort of a legal approach to help combat this?
Exactly. And it was the also the very reason why I went back to college, and I was working in an executive role with a very prominent company. I worked at a medical school, a university, and I was a computer operations manager. I was making, I was up in six figures,
Yeah.
and you would never have known that I was going through all of this behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I took the legal approach because that was where I saw the greatest need was for me. And I watched other people in the courts and trying to just go through the hardship of it all and trying to navigate the legal court systems and bureaucracy that you have to face, especially back then. Yep.
Yeah.
So Act Now Legal Services was birthed out of that heartbeat.
Got it. Got it. And you mentioned that the resources are more available and then sort of they're also better. I don't know if the right word is advertised, but there's you like you said, you see the posters, you see the stickers, um, and is it fair to say that there are more resources for victims of domestic violence now than there were in the past?
Yes, it's definitely fair to say that in the past, back in those days, 3 decades ago, it was kind of like, why don't you just leave? It was
Mm.
that frame of thought, and a lot of re-victimizations coming from the the uh, the systems that you were reported to. So if you went to a police station, the person would be treated as if they're the criminal, as opposed
Mm.
to the criminal being sought after.
So, well, one thing, and I'm not as close to it as you are, of course, but one thing that I still hear a lot, especially on social media, and that is what you just said. Well, why don't you just leave?
Yeah, that is the most ridiculous thing that anyone could ever say. I don't think people understand what they're saying, because if they, it's like until you walk in someone's shoes, you have no idea of why they don't just leave. Now, mind you, there are some cases where the person really feels they're holding out for that love that they first found with that person, and they're just head over heels in love, and they rather be, like the old song says, they better be rather be, in that situation than to be without them. Yeah,
Yeah,
very few. But that is very far and few in between, Baxter. No one wants to find out that their Prince Charming is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, you
yeah.
know. So why don't you just leave? Is so loaded, and it's not that easy. It's not as easy as it makes it seem.
Speak to that a little bit more if you don't mind. What are people facing when they are early on and they witness this different person that then maybe that they fell for, right? And they and this incident, this abuse happens for the first time, let's say, or it's starting to be ongoing, when people could just pick up and move. I know it's not that easy, but why aren't people deciding to just grab their things and go?
Well, one, and I can speak from personal experience, it all happens at different times. You know, how do you know when to hold them or know when to fold them, like the old song says? Um, sometimes the party, sometimes the people decide to work it out. They get counseling. People don't leave if they get counseling. The person seems to be doing better. Hurt people, and so the person that's the abuser may have been hurt and therefore needs help themselves.
Yeah,
They may truly love the other person and they can get help. So that's one situation where they can decide to hold them and not pack it up and pack it in. There are situations where, like mine, oh, he was Prince Charming for 4 years,
yeah.
Baxter. 4 years. We lived together,
Mm,
mind you. 4 years. We dressed alike. We went dancing. He could sing. I mean, he was fine. I mean,
yeah.
we were living our best life. Yeah. You would have never told me
Yeah,
that this was gonna happen.
yeah,
4 years later,
yeah.
what? But when I got pregnant,
Mm,
it was like something snapped. And
mm,
now I realize, though, that he realized all that I invested into him, everything I would do for him, give to him, that this other person was going to take all this attention, I believe.
mm,
And because when he hit me the first time, I mean, and he didn't hit me in my face, mind you, he hit me in my stomach.
mm,
Like the first attack was upon not just me, but upon our child.
mm,
And when he would come after me, he would always try and get me to the ground to literally stomp me in my stomach.
mm,
And he even stabbed a sword through the door of the bathroom I ran to and locked the door, and stabbed the a sword against the sword through the door, and it came out through my house dress. 1 inch more, her and I would not be here to tell this story. So a lot of times you just in the, of course, the ooh baby baby. That's another reason why people don't fold it up and pack it in a lot of times.
mm.
And then lastly, of course, the fear factor. Sometimes you're so afraid if this person would go through these extremes, what else would they do to you?
Yeah.
Of course, they make you realize, oh, I would kill you and myself before I let you leave.
Mm.
And sometimes people, they say, I can't leave. They'll find me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, when you talk about domestic violence, I mean, it isn't just physical, right?
Exactly. It's certainly not just physical. There are many types of abuse and violence that's perpetrated on people. Physical, of course, is, pushing, beating, hitting, restraining. Yes, that's the evidential one. But there's emotional abuse, verbal abuse. A person is tearing you down, constantly calling you names, making threats,
Mm.
constantly criticizing you. It can start out small and they can try and make it look like a joke or whatever. But those are the subtle keys and red flags that people need to watch out for.
Mm.
Criticizing, that emotional abuse is heavy.
Sure.
Psychological abuse, of course. Then that's when they gaslighting, making you think you are the problem, intimidating you and isolating you. And
Mm.
of course, financial abuse, that you're controlling your money, controlling what they give you, making sure you don't have any other way out,
Yeah.
never laid a hand, but making sure they control your life through finances. And yeah, digital, abuse, voyeurism, stalking, things like that, hacking your stuff, and then of course sexual abuse.
We were talking before we went on live about the senior community
Yeah.
and folks that we may not always think about being victims of domestic violence. How does it show up when you see seniors that are victims?
Baxter, you really hit the heartstring right there for me, because more than anything, I've been focusing in on the elder abuse. Being an elder care coordinator, making sure that seniors are getting the assistance that they need. Now I see it more than ever. It shows up more emotionally and financially for them,
Mm.
because in the senior homes or in the senior uh, care centers, in the nursing home, things like that, when people realize that you are aged and you don't have anyone, you people and elders become targets, with a
Mm.
big red circle on their backs.
Mm.
You would think that they would become the one that everybody would want to protect, like a
Mm.
child. But unfortunately, we live in a very wicked world that would target an elder, people who have raised us and given their very lives for us, to have a hope in the future. And they will, become like their friends. And the highest statistic in this is people that care for them, quote unquote. They begin to, manipulate their situations, sign themselves to them, even would pretend that they're related to them, try to cash in their your insurance policies,
Mm.
things like that. I've seen that happen. And then of course the fear of making that elder feel like you better not say anything are some of the more extremer cases. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's sad because yes, the elders are who, are sort of the folks that blaze a trail for us, folks that we should be protecting. And you think about the scam calls and that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
But then you talk about people that are uh supposed to be friends and family or caregivers,
Mm-hmm.
eh, trying to prey on these folks and that's awful. It's just yeah, it's awful to think about. you're afraid for them to answer the phone because these folks have these different scripts and these different ways, and then you have folks that are in their home
Mm-hmm.
that are supposed to be advocates for them, and but actually just manipulating them and taking advantage of them.
Yes.
That's really really sad.
Yeah.
When you think about the population that you serve mostly, or like if you had to categorize whether it's the type of abuse that you are dealing with the most of the folks that you are serving, like how like what's the majority, like what do you all deal with more than others, and then how does the rest of them kind of stack up as far as like not necessarily hard percentages, but just like roundabout percentages.
The majority was the physical and the emotional abuse at first. Intimate partner violence is number one.
Mm,
It still remains number one. And intimate partner violence is where the person has had a relationship with that person, or they have had some sort of dating, or they've been married to them, lived with them at any time. So that would be intimate partner.
mm,
And the other one that's really climbing is elder abuse.
mm,
And that one would, of course, constitute the financial abuse. You see that in the financial area more than anything. And it's getting so high in numbers and statistically just outrageous for the financial abuse with the elders that it's I would I would even go as far as to say in the coming times and years, you're going to see that probably surpass even the physical abuse or
wow,
intimate partner violence. Yes.
wow.
And it's sad. And like you said, it's really sad. We do something called singing and serving, and that was birthed out of helping the elders. So we do a singing telegram, give them a
Mm,
gift, and do a customized service for them, whether clean up their homes and so on and so forth. We have an extra little caveat there, especially if we notice something or we red flag a situation, and we do have some angel attorneys that are at their right there waiting to help them.
okay.
So yeah, so that's our part that we do with the elders because I was, my grandmama she put the love inside of my heart. I mean, everything good and godly I learned from her.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's my sweet spot,
yeah,
where I really want to see them
yeah.
get help. Yeah.
Um, so for folks that are looking for help and they don't know the first steps, like what do they do? Where do they go? Who do they reach out to? How does that work?
Well, definitely, if they can get to report it, if they've been a victim, they can dial 911. They can make it to a local police station. For as Act Now services, I would love to, I can leave my number here with 24/7 answer. We have resources and an avenue to get them to safety. And prevention also. If you think someone is going through it and you're not sure, you want to see what the signs are, you can go on our website as well. And then the domestic violence advocacy. There's state coalitions that Act Now is part of, national coalitions. It's a lot of resources here where we are working together now to make sure that all areas are covered. We're training the police departments now not to re-traumatize people, not to re-victimize them, how to speak to them when they do report it. Don't assume, why didn't you leave anymore?
Yeah,
Don't make them feel like they don't have this help.
yeah,
So we're training now. We've put our feet down and says, okay, enough is enough.
yeah,
We need you to be on the front lines. And so now you have a lot of, I know in Detroit, the officers now know what to look for when they go out and how to better service and not to drop, this guy off around the corner he's gonna come right back.
Right.
You know,
Right. What's the website?
www dot actnowservices.org.
actnowservices.org.
Yes.
Um, the phone number, Georgia?
313-473-9599.
9599.
Yes,
So if folks are um victims of abuse or even feel like they may be a victim of abuse, they can reach out.
they can reach out. They
What
can
ab-
reach out. Yes.
what about people? How do you advise folks that may have a loved one that may be in a domestic violence situation and they're afraid to do something? How what do you advise like the loved one to do? How does one help their loved one if they're thinking or feeling like that's what they're going through?
First of all, offering them a shoulder, being able to listen to them and gain their confidence that I'm here for you. I'm not going to make you feel like you need to run away from me, because we can push them away if they're already afraid.
Mhm.
And just drawing them in to let them know, I love you, I'm here, you're not alone. You know, here, let's create a safe code, a word, a password. I would advise families, especially if a person is being abused and they have children in the situation. We want to, if you have access to those children, teach them a code, teach them not to get involved, teach them how to get away if something happens so that they can make a phone call. You
Mhm.
know, those are things that you can do. As a grandmother, that's what I would teach my grandchildren. If you saw your mom in danger, this is what you do. Don't try and rush in. Don't try and, do anything. This is what you would do. You can take proactive steps.
Got it. Got it. Um, I just want to say thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
It's incredibly important, and we must realize that all domestic violence doesn't show up in the way that we think it does, right?
That's correct.
Um, it may not be something physically that you can see.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of what you're experiencing when you're dealing with your loved ones, and then for folks that may be in those situations, um, just because someone isn't physically doing, causing harm, doesn't mean that you're not a victim. Like you mentioned, the financial and the emotional abuse and like these are all real things. Um, she is a domestic violence advocate and survivor, founder of Act Now Services. Um, the number for folks, and I'll put it in the description when we post the entire um, conversation, but it's 313 and the website is www.actnowservices.org. Georgia Cole, thank you again for joining the podcast, telling us about your story, and doing the great work that you're doing for folks that need it.
Thank you so much, Baxter, for this time and for everyone that will hear this. I hope my hopes and prayers are that someone will be helped from it. Thank you for taking this time and making space.
Yes, absolutely. To everyone listening or watching, just know that you're all capable. You just need to embrace and find your own frequency. On behalf of Georgia, I'm Baxter E. Hall. Until next time, peace, everybody.
Welcome into his brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me. Ask them.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, share, and also hit that notification button as well. Thank you so much.
Financial literacy to authentic black history. This real rap.